Ahoy folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So we had a question on the channel today from one of our members, John Smith. He was asking why I hadn't picked up a certain talent in the build. I was going to explain, just type it out and say this is why I didn't do it here, but I thought I would actually make an updated video because since... Shut up, Stephanie. Since then, the build has been updated a couple of times and we've changed around some of the talents. So I'm going to go through it now, show you what's changed and how you can just quite easily flip this over. So, as you can see, this build is pretty interchangeable with the plasma gun build. The only thing we have to do here is take out a couple of points and change over the guns. And as this is the veteran support build, what we're going to be using is the Recon Lasgun. So the Mark 6D is the fastest firing with lowest damage. The Mark 7A is the most damage but slowest firing. And then the Mark II, which is down here somewhere, is the middle. So you basically choose whichever flavour of gun you want. I prefer the 6D, just because it's got a massive rate of fire, stacks things up quite nicely. But obviously you can use whichever one you fancy. Just, you know, pick your favourite and then build it the same as these. So how you want to build these things is you want Maniac, Headhunter, and Infernus. And for your last perk, you can change that around to whatever you want. Really, you can have, you can put crit on it, so you can have ranged critical strike chance by 5%, or you can have flak or carapace. You know, it's completely up to you. I haven't actually modified this one all the way yet because I'm still thinking what I want here. I would probably go with either flak or crit, to be honest. Although with this build, you can hose down crushers and bulwarks and things quite easily, just because of how they work. So with the Headhunter and Infernus, you can just absolutely hose those things down without much problem. So that's how the guns are working. And as for your melee weapon, again, completely up to you how you want to run your melee. You can either go for the Mark 13G with Shred and Rampage, or the Mark IV Chainsword with Shred and Rampage. I'm actually using Unarmored and Flak on this because I only tend to use this for Horde control, and Hordes are mostly Unarmored or Flak. So that's how you get the most out of that. But if you want to, you can use the Combat Blade. Very good weapons to use. I tend to run it in this configuration. I use the Mark VI with Lacerate and Mercy Killer. But you can use the Mark III. You can try Flesh Terror and Mercy Killer, Lacerate and Mercy Killer, or Flesh Terror and Uncanny Strikes. They all work slightly differently, but it depends how you want to build the thing. But my general go-to is the Chainsword, just because it is really good at clearing out hordes. And I tend to use Savage Sweep, Rampage, or Shred and Rampage. Shreds are just really nice. This is a very high crit build, so having more crit is just always good. But I would just pick your favourite flavour of melee weapon and go with it, to be honest. This build is not concerned with a specific weapon. You know, whatever's your favourite, go with it, and you should be fine, to be honest. Right, and now for the curios. So, I'm using one with maximum health, toughness generation speed, extra toughness, and damage resistance gunners. Then I'm using two toughness curios, which are built the same, with toughness regeneration, damage resistance gunners, and more toughness. So the thing about gunner resist is, as you can see, I've got it in all three. That gives me 60%. It doesn't work out quite to 60%. There's quite a lot of diminishing returns. But gunner resist does also protect you not only from gunners, but from shotgunners, reapers, and I think there was one more that I don't remember. But it was definitely gunners, reapers, and shotgunners. So it's a very wide catching defense in the game. So that's generally why it's one of the best to use. So what we're going to do, I'll clone this build down to here, and I'll show you how I'm going to edit it slightly for this setup. So I'm going to chuck on the Mark 6D Recon, which is one of my favourite versions. And talent-wise, this is what we're going to do, okay? So as you can see, this is literally the Plasma Commander build that was in the other videos, and it's very, very simple to change here. All we're going to do is we're going to take away Long Shot, and we're going to put it into Shock Trooper. It's literally all we have to do. But if you want to not lose damage, you can remove Target Down. So you can remove Target Down and pick up Shock Trooper, or you could remove Rending Strikes, which is 10% damage to all weapons. But I mean, if you're completely against losing any damage, I would take Target Down and put it into Shock Trooper. That is how easy this build is to modify. I'm going to go through it from top to bottom, so don't worry. So if you're keeping Long Shot, it is a very good talent. So more damage the further you are away from things. The Recon Lasguns are quite accurate, even with hip firing, so this is going to give you a nice sort of boost from the very beginning. Then we're going to go into Close Order Drills, up to 33% toughness damage reduction, the more allies in coherency. Confirmed Kill, replenish 10% toughness on elite or special enemy kill, and a further 20% over 10 seconds. And then we're going to be coming down here for the extra stamina into toughness, and we're picking up the Crack Grenade. Now, I will always take the Crack Grenade over the other two. I only ever use the Smoke Grenade because I wanted to do the penance, and the Shredder Frag Grenade is just kind of eh. The Crack Grenade rounds out this build incredibly well. Okay, so you have your Recon Lasgun for flak and up. You have your melee weapon for unarmored hordes, and you have your Crack Grenade for crushers, maulers, bulwarks, monstrosities. This thing will shred through anything that's a hard target. Okay, that's why we always stick with the Crack Grenade. It rounds out the build completely. You have 3 different ways to kill 3 different types of enemy. Then we come down here for the health boost. We're going to pick up Covering Fire. When you kill an enemy with a ranged attack, allies within 5 meters of the target replenish 15% toughness and receive 10% base damage for 3 seconds. Sorry. Again, this is an extremely high damage, but it is also a support build, so this is it built in to help your team. We're not taking Grenade Tinkerer because we don't have the points to spare, and honestly, we don't need the Crack Grenade to do more damage. It's already incredibly damaging. Then we're picking up Fire Team for the 5% damage, and then through here, and this is where John Smith, you asked why I wasn't picking up the crit. We are now. And I thought it'd be much easier to show you instead of explain it. So we are picking up the 5% crit, and we are also picking up Grenadier for 1 extra grenade. So you'll be carrying 3 Crack Grenades, and not only that, we are replenish 1 of them every 60 seconds. So we will always have access to armor breaking methods. So there you go. We are now definitely picking up the crit boost here. Then, as I said, into Demolition Stockpile for the extra grenade every 60 seconds. Then into Voice of Command. This thing is just very, very good. You are boosting your team's toughness and just survivability massively. And with Duty and Honor, we get that even more so. Okie dokie. Now into the home stretch. We're going to jump over here onto the left first. We're picking up the 5% extra range damage. We're taking Precision Strikes for weak spot damage because with the gun, as you can see, Headhunter, 5% critical chance on weak spot hit until your next crit stacks 5 times. So that's 25% crit on repeated weak spot hits. And we're also going to be doing a hell of a lot more damage to those weak spots. And now we're going to be picking up Fully Loaded. And then we're going to be taking Superiority Complex. We're going to be taking out a point there from Target Down and putting it into Shock Trooper. So this is going to help us sustain ammo, because critical hits with las weapons consume no ammo. There is an internal cooldown on it, so you won't be just sitting at 100% ammo all the time. There is a cooldown, an internal one, so watch out for that. But with that, and Headhunter, and probably getting rid of damaged carapace armored enemies for another 5% crit, that is going to keep us topped up with ammo throughout the fight. Why does this keep taking the points out? Goddamn skill tree. Let's just close that. because it is irritating me. There we go. Saved it now. So we're picking up Shock Trooper, and we're picking up Superiority Complex with 15% base damage against elite enemies. And of course, fully loaded for an extra 25% ammo. And then we're going to come back over here to the middle. We're picking up for the Emperor. Your combat ability gives you and your allies a coherency 10% melee base damage and 10% range base damage for 10 seconds. We're going to be using this continuously, so that is just a nice boost across the board for everyone. And then we're going to be picking up Tactical Awareness. Combat ability cooldown reduced by 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. You're a veteran. You're going to be hunting specials most of the time anyway, so this is just going to help us use this as much as we can. And then we'll be picking up Iron Will, one of the most underrated but best talents in the veteran tree. 50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. We should be always above that level of toughness because we're going to be using Voice of Command continuously. So that's going to give us a nice amount of damage resistor right there. Then we come down here for an extra boost of toughness, and then we're going to pick up Bring It Down, 20% damage to Ogryns and Monstrosities. Now this is also why I say we don't need to waste a point in Grenade Tinkerer, because throughout the rest of the tree we're picking up 10% damage here, 30% damage there, another 20% damage here. We don't need to break the flow of the build to get just damage on grenades, when with a skill point we're getting damage everywhere else. Okay, so for example, you could take the point out here out of Rending Strikes to give yourself 50% more damage with the grenade, but by doing that you lose 10% damage across the board everywhere else. So it's up to you, but I think combined damage is better than just one bit of damage in a specific skill. So we're taking Rending Strikes, Bring It Down, and then into Focused Target. Now with this, we're taking Focused Fire, so it goes up 8 stacks, and then we're taking Redirect Fire for increased damage. So with that, as you can see down in the bottom, the little purple buff has 8. When you target something, it puts all those 8 stacks onto that target. And it just keeps going. But as you can see, it is stacking up there, 5, 6, 7, 8, but you always keep the amount of stacks after you killed the target. It doesn't replace them, it just refreshes them. Okay?
It can only be a
Shut up, Stephanie. Now, there is one thing I'm going to say, and I've seen a few people do this. Don't be one of those people that uses a mod to tag things, because it is irritating as hell, and it's going to bugger up your stacks. And what I mean is the people that do this. Everyone in the team hates you. Please stop doing it. And a lot of people do this by modding it so that the tag button, for me it's C, on my keyboard, they mod it so it is bound to their fire button. So whatever they're firing at gets tagged. But what it's also doing is this. Don't do that. It messes up your stacks and it irritates your team. So, you know, be warned. So, it's a very, very easy playstyle in this build. You do an incredible amount of damage. You want to be mid to close range at all times, and you want to be with your team to buff them as much as you can. So you'll be calling out targets, and you'll be hammering those targets. And as you can see, I'm still rinsing through my ammo quite quickly, but every crit, well, I think it works out to every other crit, or every other crit and a half with the internal cooldown. It doesn't consume ammo. But you do want to be aiming for those weak spots because of Headhunter and the increased damage we get against weak spots. So it's a very fun build to use. I really like this build, and it is basically interchangeable with the plasma gun. You just take out Shock Trooper and you're good to go. Just make sure that you are using Voice of Command as much as you can to buff your team. Prioritising specials and elites to reduce your cooldown and to keep your team safe. You are not so much a sniper, but you are the suppressing fire of your team. And a lot of you may have played in full melee teams, especially on Damnation and Uruk. They get very hairy when you don't have someone who's throwing out suppressive fire. And I'm not even saying you have to like kill every single gunner. I mean, you should aim to, but giving your team that 2 seconds of breathing room and depressing them and basically making them cower, you're allowing your zealots, your Ogryn, to get in close and to start messing stuff up. And once that's happened, your job is so much easier because they're not firing at you anymore. You can stand there and pick stuff off all day long. Shut up, Stephanie. Now, with this build, you can hose down crushers. It's not a great use of ammo, but obviously if you don't have a grenade at the time, it is a total viable way of getting rid of them. See? I mean, I wouldn't do it too often because you will lose all your ammo, but it's an option if you're stuck. But there you go. That is the support veteran with incredibly high damage output. I really do hope you guys enjoy the updated build. And if you do, please do like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And if anyone does have any questions about any of my builds, or you'd like to see something specific, or you'd like to see me make a build from scratch, please do ask in the comments. I'm happy to do it for you guys. So until next time, thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll see you later.